Garlic can offer impressive health benefits, but only if you prepare it the right way. Sure, it tastes great and makes almost any food better, but if you're looking for specific health benefits, there are some things you must do and some things you absolutely should not do. Otherwise, you'll only receive a fraction of the health benefits that garlic could actually provide. Hello, health champions. Today we're going to talk about what would happen if you drink garlic water every day for 30 days. Let's start with some of the health benefits of the amazing garlic. Most people probably know that it can enhance your immune system. It can help you with your immune support because it's very strongly antimicrobial. It is antibacterial, and it will even fight off some of the strains that are antibiotic resistant, such as E. coli and MRSA. It is antifungal, and some of the most common ones, of course, is Candida. People have heard of Candida albicans when you have a yeast overgrowth in your body, and it will fight that off, but also many others. It is antiviral. So it will fight off influenza virus, upper respiratory viruses, and herpes. So when it's influenza season, or if you get the very first hint of a cold, an upper respiratory tract infection, that's a great time to take some garlic, but we're going to talk about how to do it. And also for herpes, for mouth sores. And it is also anti-parasitic, and it will help fight off entamoeba and many others. But garlic can also have a direct effect on blood pressure and the health of your arteries. So in some studies that they have performed, just eating garlic can lower the systolic blood pressure by 7 to 16 points, and the diastolic by 5 to 9 points. And garlic will reduce the arterial stiffness as well to help your body regulate blood pressure better. Now, garlic also enhances the action and activity of nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator. So it helps increase the flexibility and elasticity of your arteries. And then it acts sort of like an ACE inhibitor medication as well. So ACE inhibitor stands for angiotensin converting enzyme. So angiotensin is a hormone that tightens up your blood vessels. So your body uses that to regulate blood pressure when it needs to tighten up blood vessels. But when it does it too much, that's not a good thing. So if we can inhibit that angiotensin a little bit, then that is one way that it can help reduce blood pressure. But unlike the actual ACE inhibitor medications, garlic will have no side effects. And garlic also helps to reduce the stickiness of platelets. Those are the tiny little things in your blood that causes blood clots, that helps your blood coagulate when it's supposed to, but it shouldn't do it too much. And garlic helps reduce the stickiness and the formation of blood clots. Garlic also has a direct effect on insulin resistance and metabolic health, metabolic syndrome. So it will help reduce fasting insulin, glucose, and something called HOMA-IR, which is a calculation that you do from glucose and insulin. Stands for homeostatic model assessment of insulin resistance. So basically, garlic helps you become more insulin sensitive, all other things being equal. And some other things they measured and found is that it can reduce your waist circumference, your blood lipids, and your blood pressure. And also connected to this metabolic syndrome, of course, is fatty liver, and it will help reduce the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. But garlic also has an effect on your blood lipids and your overall cardiovascular risk markers. So it will help reduce your total cholesterol and your LDL cholesterol. And not that those are bad in themselves because your body manufactures cholesterol, but it oftentimes manufactures the LDL to distribute healing compounds to the body. So if you have less inflammation and less damage in your bloodstream, then the body doesn't have to make as much of that cholesterol. It will help improve your glycemic marker, your blood sugar markers, like we talked about on the previous slide, and it will help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress. And this is huge because inflammation and oxidative stress, those are the two factors that most contribute to our incidence of degenerative disease, to chronic degenerative disease, to basically all of them, like cardiovascular disease and cancer and Alzheimer's, dementia, type 2 diabetes, etc. But one more thing that it does when it reduces this inflammation is that it reduces the LDL damage. So it's not LDL in itself that's dangerous or harmful, but it's when inflammation has damaged the LDL. And when we have less damage, now the body makes this fluffy LDL, which is not harmful like the small LDL is. Garlic also has an impact. It can improve your gut, your microbiome, and your digestion. And there are many different ways it does that. One is that it contains a prebiotic, something that will feed your bacteria. That's a type of fiber, essentially. And it contains fructans or fructooligosaccharides that we can't digest. It tastes a little bit sweet, actually, but we can't digest it, but the bacteria can. And we mentioned before that garlic can be very potent in its antimicrobial action. And in doing that, it will actually help balance out the bad and the good species. So we will tend to increase the beneficial bacteria. And here's a really interesting thing that we want to keep in mind, and that's that garlic can improve digestion and bloating in some people, whereas it can actually make it worse in other people. So if you take garlic and it gets worse, then it's not necessarily anything wrong with garlic, but you probably shouldn't overdo it. And the reason is if you have a sensitivity, if you have a certain balance of bacteria in your gut that doesn't tolerate, that doesn't process some of these compounds very well. So if you're FODMAP sensitive, and FODMAP stands for fermentable oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols, which include sugar alcohols. So if you have a sensitivity to that, it probably means that you have a certain balance of bacteria, but also that you have a bacterial overgrowth in your small intestine, known as SIBO. And then one way that you can find out is by reducing this FODMAP food. And you can look up what those types of foods are. And if your symptoms reduce, then you probably have this SIBO. But it can also be if you have an overgrowth in certain bacteria that process sulfur, that they use sulfur. So if you feed these bacteria more sulfur, now it can get irritated down there. But this is not just typical for garlic. Pretty much anything that you eat has to be processed by your microbiome. They help you digest it. They help you repackage it. And if there are foods that you're not tolerating very well, it probably has to do with your balance of your flora. And garlic also helps your liver detox. It contains sulfur compounds. And these sulfur compounds help support phase 2 of detox. So phase 2 is where the liver has already taken these compounds and made them less dangerous, less toxic, but now it needs to help get them out of the body. So it does something called conjugation. It adds a little attachment to it, and in doing that, it becomes water soluble, and now it can mix with the other stuff in the liver, in the gut, and we can flush it out. And these sulfur compounds in garlic also help support the glutathione pathway, the production of our most important antioxidant. So garlic can do a lot of amazing things, but different compounds in garlic do different things. So we need to understand what they are and what they do and how to prepare garlic to maximize it. The most potent and most important compound in garlic is allicin. But the interesting thing is that garlic does not actually contain any allicin. It is created when we crush it. So it contains two different things. It contains allicin, which is an amino acid with sulfur in it. And then it contains an enzyme called alliinase. And when these two meet, now we create the allicin, the active compound. So while you store the garlic, when you have it in the fridge or on the counter, these two compounds are kept in separate compartments. And it's not until you crush it that it is converted into allicin. And then what happens is that this allicin breaks down because it's very unstable. And it will break down into different compounds like DAS, DADS, DATS, which we're all going to talk about in just a second, and something called ajoine. So here's what we need to understand if we're looking for certain specific benefits, that allicin is the most active compound, and it is the only compound in garlic that provides the antimicrobial properties. It then breaks down into something called diallyl sulfide, DAS, or diallyl disulfide, or trisulfide. And these also have benefits, but not antimicrobial. So they will provide some circulation support and some arterial support, some flexibility, and it's an antioxidant. So out of all those benefits that we talked about on the first half of the video, they all provide that except allicin, which is the only one that provides the antimicrobial. And then ajoine will help support blood flow and reduce stickiness. And then, of course, we have the fructans that we mentioned, which is the prebiotic that helps feed your gut bacteria. So it's really important to understand how to get the most allicin out of garlic. And like we said, it needs this enzyme, alliinase, to be created, but it also needs oxygen to form initially. And then it takes about 7 to 10 minutes to reach peak levels. And after 7 to 10 minutes, it starts degenerating. It starts breaking down very quickly. It is actually so unstable that it evaporates and it is damaged very quickly by heat and oxygen. So that's the interesting part. Initially, you need the oxygen to make it, but then the oxygen will actually break it down. So the best way to consume it would be then to have raw garlic and you crush it in a garlic press, and then you wait about 7 to 10 minutes for this maximum amount of allicin to be created. And then you can mix it with different things. So if you make garlic water, like we're talking about in this video, then you would need to drink it within about 30 to 45 minutes. After that, the effect starts going down dramatically, but the water protects it. So you squeeze it, you wait 10 minutes, then when you put it in water, now the water shields it from oxygen. So it lasts longer. And another way that actually makes it last even a little bit longer is to mix it with butter. You make garlic butter. And then it lasts a little longer, so you need to eat it within about 2 hours. And you want to mix it with soft butter, not melted butter, because that's probably too hot. It will destroy this allicin. And you also don't want to buy garlic butter ready-made in the store because the allicin will have all degenerated. And also realize that if you slice it or chop it, you're not breaking down as many compartments, as many cell compartments. So you're not reaching all of that amino acid, the allicin, and therefore less allicin is going to be formed unless you crush it in a garlic press. And if you cook it, then all allicin will be destroyed very, very quickly because there is this point, this threshold at about 60 degrees Celsius or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, above which allicin is destroyed immediately. So what you want to do is, if you make this garlic water, then you could use 1 to 2 cloves and you crush them raw, you put them in the water or in the garlic butter, and now you get these immediate immune benefits. It is basically so hyperactive, it just breaks down these microbes. But then what you can also do is you use additional quantities in cooking. So that's basically what I do. I eat garlic butter, I'll make some garlic water, but then I add garlic to just about every cooking I do, every dish I do. I just absolutely love it. There are very few things I will make that do not have garlic in them. So realize that if you're looking for the immune benefits, then you want to eat the raw crushed garlic. And then the allicin is created, but the allicin will still break down into these other compounds that will give you the other benefits. And then these other benefits you will also get if you use it in cooking. So the way to make this garlic water for the maximum benefit would be to press 1 to 2 garlic cloves in a garlic press. Then you let it sit in room temperature for about 7 to 10 minutes because it needs that oxygen to create all of that allicin. And then you add this to cold or warm water, whichever you're most comfortable, whatever you like the best, but not hot water. It shouldn't be like tea water. It should be body temperature or cold water. And then you want to drink it within about 30 to 45 minutes. And now, some people are going to think it's a little bit harsh, it's a little bit intense with these garlic pieces floating around in the water. So if you want to, you can sift it off. It's like you put the pressed garlic into the water and you just let it sit a couple of minutes, maybe up to 5 minutes, but probably 2 minutes would be enough. And then you can sift off the garlic and just drink the water because the allicin is water soluble and it will dissolve in the water very quickly. But then a lot of you have also seen videos and you've read and you've tried and you like drinking lemon water. So there is nothing to keep you from adding a squeeze of lemon to this, and then you would get the benefits of both. So if you do this for 30 days, if you take me up on that challenge, some of the things you might find would be improved circulation. A lot of people will report warmer hands and feet. You will probably also see a reduction in blood pressure, but only if it was high to start with. This is not like a blood pressure medication that will depress your blood pressure if it's already low. And like we said, you might see some digestive changes, and these could be improvement or worsening. And then if they get worse, now you know something more about your gut and your biome. A lot of people will report improved breathing and clearer sinuses, as well as improved energy and overall mental clarity. If you have some blood work done, then you might see some improvement in your metabolic markers, especially blood glucose and insulin and triglycerides. And if you do this going into the cold and flu season, you might notice improved immunity and resistance to infection. So maybe if you did this, it would be a season that you would not get a cold or a flu. And because garlic helps reduce overall inflammation, you might also notice a reduction in pain and stiffness. So give it a try and let me know in the comments down below how it goes. If you enjoyed this video, you're going to love that one. And if you truly want to master health by understanding how the body really works, make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, and turn on all the notifications so you never miss a life-saving video.